Peace. This is Brother Hatim, and you have joined us on Gye-Nyame Journey Radio. Be sure to check out our site and subscribe at tribe.gyenamejourney.com.
All my brothers and sisters, hold hands and bow your heads. Let us pray. God standeth in the congregation of the mighty. He judgeth amongst the gods. How long will you judge unjustly and accept the persons of the wicked? I say, defend the poor and the fatherless. Do justice to the afflicted and the needy. Deliver the poor and needy. Rid them out of the hand of the wicked. They know not, neither will they understand. They walk on in darkness. All the foundations of the earth are out of court. I have said, ye are God, and all of you are children of the Most High. But you shall die like men, and fall like one of the princes. Arise, O God, judge the earth, for thou shalt inherit all nations. Allahu Akbar.
This is Kadara Franks, and you are now listening to the Gye-Nyame Journey Radio.
Keep up with the journey. Check out what we have done in the past. Go to journeyarchives.com.
This is Adnan Sheik, aka Ace, live from Shisha Lounge, and you are now listening to Gye-Nyame Journey Radio.
Be sure to follow Gye-Nyame Journey on Facebook, Google+, and Twitter. Check us out. Join the journey.
This is Adnan Sheik, aka Ace, live from Shisha Lounge, and you are now listening to Gye-Nyame Journey Radio.
You are now listening to Gye-Nyame Journey Radio with Monica. Enjoy.
This is Marina, and this is Gye-Nyame Journey Radio.
This is Willie. Welcome to Gye-Nyame Journey Radio. I want to give a shout out to Silver Kevin, all my Silver Nation out there. I want to give a shout out to my mom. I give a shout out to my dad for raising me and my family for being around me. And I want to give a shout out to the people of my generation that's trying to do something big.
This is Cleveland, and you're listening to Gye-Nyame Journey Radio.
Peace, Hotep. It's Mansour Hotep, aka Mr. Deity. Mr. Deity, does it sound good? I think it sounds great. Right now, you listening to Gye-Nyame Journey Radio.
If you're not adding anything to the culture that you claim, you don't deserve to carry his name. This is Brother Hatim coming at you live, and you are now listening to the Gye-Nyame Journey Radio. Shouts out to the Gye-Nyame tribe, Gye-Nyame family. Stand up. Peace. If you're not adding anything to the culture that you claim, you don't deserve to carry its name. This is Brother Hatim coming at you live, and you are now listening to the Gye-Nyame Journey Radio. Shouts out to Gye-Nyame Tribe, Gye-Nyame family. Stand up. And you are now listening to Gye-Nyame Journey Radio. Peace. This is Gina.
This is Gina.
And you are now
Now you listen to my daddy.
on Gye-Nyame
Gye-Nyame Journey
Radio.
Radio.
Peace.
Peace.
I've had enough. Man, listen. Family, it is going down. Listen. So, Miss Jackie got a story for me, but let me make sure y'all know what these lines are. Alright, we're going to have the open lines at 614-556-4535. Now, lines are open. I know I should have had this ready, but, like I said, it's been one of those type of days, family. It's been one of those type of days. So, Jackie, I'm going to go to the piece that you posted up. I don't see it on the timeline. What's going on? Can you post that story up again, Miss Jackie? So that I can go to it and we could talk about it? But while she's doing that, family, I need to let you know you are now listening to Gye-Nyame Journey. Ooh, the Phoenix was ready. And, of course, this is Tribal Quotes. And, this is a heart of a summer production. But we strive to blow up your old paradigm. Thank you, Miss Sasha. Thank you, Miss Sasha. So, Miss Jackie just posted up. Analysis of new DC school scan. Oh, my. Okay. All right, Miss Jackie got a story she wants us to talk about. I know you versed in it, Jackie, so hit me up. 614-556-4535. Bitcoin is hot. Got to get me some aid now, family. It's up $15,000 a coin now. $15,000 a coin now. Now, the questions that we have to ask, because I'm getting a little bit myself, right? Don't go out and buy a coin. Please. Take your time. Learn the game. Log into Brother Dentista's group. Start learning how to protect your investments. I mean, he got a scam on there that somebody tried to run on him, or that one of these systems tried to run on him, so that you can learn from his experience. Part of us working together and us learning together is, one, being able to gain the lessons from others' mistakes or the challenges that they have overcome. And there are people out here, like Anubis is one, Brother Dentista that was on the show Sunday, that could show you how to do it right. But now, let's look. A new DC school scandal, Back to the Future. We're going to get to the Proverbs in a second. It was July 13, 2022, Michelle Ray, then DC school chancellor, proclaimed at a news conference that Balu High School was no longer a symbol of what was going wrong in public education in the nation's capital, but a sign of what was going right. Why? Standardized test proficiency scores had risen from single digits, though, to still failing rates. Ray's patron, then Mayor Adrian Fenty, stood at her side and called for a big round of applause for Balu's teachers. Fast forward to November 29, 2017. This is where you say, uh-oh. A new D.C. school chancellor, Antoine Wilson, an admirer of Rhee, stood by his patron, Mayor Muriel E. Bowser, a Fenty ally, at a news conference to defend allegations that many students who did not qualify for a diploma graduated from Ballaloux in 2017, including some who could not read or write well. Neither Wilson, who succeeded Kaya Henderson as chancellor in February, nor Bowser could refute the revelations about Ballaloux, outlined in an investigation by WAMU and NPR, but promised to investigate. It was clear that Ballaloux is not the rousing success story portrayed in 2017 news stories, touting that every Ballaloux senior was accepted to college. It's a new scandal to rock D.C. public schools, yet there are familiar notes to it, and it reveals some stark realities about a decade of controversial school reform in the district. Started by Reed in 2007 and carried on by Henderson, the reforms relied on the use of standardized tests to evaluate students, schools, and educators. They also include a groundbreaking performance pay system paid for by philanthropists, and chronic churn in teachers and principals. These reforms have not only failed to fix some long-standing problems in the system, but exacerbated others. District officials like to tout rising standard test scores as evidence of progress. Bowser and Wilson did repeatedly Wednesday, but the proficiency rate of D.C. district students today will still be considered failing in a high-performing district, and the D.C. system retains a stubborn, gaping achievement gap. All right. In 2015, report by National Research Council, the research arm of the National Academies of Science, Engineering, and Medicine, said the district's poor and minority students were still far less likely than their peers to have a quality teacher in their classroom, perform at grade level, and graduate from high school in 4 years. Years of reform didn't do much to help that. A key reform was the employee assessment system known as IMPACT. It was spearheaded under Reed by Henderson, her deputy, and initially relied heavily on student standardized test scores to evaluate every adult in the system, including custodians. Although changes have been made, IMPACT still rewards teachers with bonuses based on student achievement, which is problematic for a few reasons. Assessment experts have warned against using test scores for high-stakes decisions on teachers, saying they are unreliable for those purposes. And Wilson probably unwittingly underscored another reason during the news conference. He said that the Common Core test known as PART, given to DC students in different grades for annual accountability purposes, doesn't actually assess what students learn in their classroom. Later, however, he cited the dramatic rise in PART scores in the system as proof of progress. Progress of what? Not surprisingly, he did mention past episodes during the Reed and Henderson administration in which teachers were caught helping students on high-stakes standardized tests. IMPACT provided an incentive for some to do that. The WAMU NPR story said Ballaloux teachers reported being under pressure from school administrations, officials to give students grades they didn't deserve to boost the graduation rate. Teachers and the principals have complained quietly about such pressures for years, but fear repercussions if they speak out publicly. That's a legacy from Reed that remains. As disturbing as anything in the WAMU NPR story was an allegation by a former teacher at Ballaloux that some of the 2017 graduates could barely read or write. Wilson said he had no evidence that such a claim is true. It has, however, been true of some D.C. public school graduates in past years, with some D.C. adult literacy programs populated by essentially illiterate system graduates. The spectacle of the new chancellor standing next to the mayor at a news conference talking about whether district graduates were qualified for their diplomas and saying that it wouldn't be fair to rescind them was a stark reminder that some D.C. school history is still not history. Wilson could not have been comfortable standing there repeatedly stating that he would make sure students receive only grades and degrees they deserve, but that is the situation he and the mayor are now in. It is unfortunately familiar. Wow. All right. So Jackie wanted me to talk about it. Now, we already know that standardized tests, one, as they already mentioned in the article, does not test the students on what they're learning in class. So you have teachers testing towards a test. And then by testing towards a test, they're not really able to educate the kids. They can get the kids to remember the facts. They can get the kids to do certain things. But there is a problem when you have teachers teaching to a test, because one of the things that we have to understand in our society is that teachers are not just teachers. Teachers in some cases are parents.
This call is being recorded.
Teachers in some cases are psychologists. Teachers in some cases are extended family members, or should be. It does not give time for an individual to actually develop the relationship. Then on top of that, let's look at teachers also. I know teachers right now where I work that work a second job. A lot of these teachers are not being treated like teachers. They're being treated like sharecroppers. They're being treated like sharecroppers. Our education system is a sharecropping piece. You do, you get. You know what I'm saying? And then on top of that, you only get a little bit because the bonuses that they give them does not make up for all the money that they have not honestly been making in the first place. You got to understand, teaching is a very, very hard and complicated job, and it's a lot more than more than 8 hours a day. You understand what I'm saying? Oh, but somebody on the line. Somebody just joined me on the line. Who this? Hello?
This is Jacqueline Brooks.
Go ahead, Miss Brooks. Go ahead. This your article, so go and let me know what's going on. What you want to hit on?
No, I was wanting to hit on the fact that, they're saying that this is like a rock in the foundation of education, this particular story, right?
Right.
That this school is, I also put up another link to you showing that the principal had been removed during the graduation scandal investigation. There's another link up there. But anyway, if you were to do some research into them padding grades or, trying to push kids through, this is something that we used to hear about when we were kids.
Right.
This is a tradition.
Hey.
This is not just DC. This is is throughout the country. And also, remember a couple years ago where they locked up those teachers in Atlanta.
Right. And go ahead.
They had a huge cheating scandal there about, them helping kids pass the test, the standardized test there, or they actually just changed the scores.
Mm-hmm.
But this is something that's overlooked and that we just kind of know about it. It's like one of those things we know is happening, but we don't. I don't know. We don't react to it. We don't. I don't know. It's like I don't know. We don't have a sense of importance about education because some time back when I was talking to you, we were talking about the fact that the education system was failing our kids, and that basically they were looking the other way, and that we were talking about the difference between an education and being schooled, if you remember correctly.
And our kids are being schooled now.
Right.
Janice.
Right, and
Janice,
there's this whole thing about the prison, the school to prison pipeline.
Right.
This is one of those examples.
Because
they are accepting them to schools, like in this story, UDC accepted all these kids, like over 100 kids were accepted, only 18 enrolled, but over 100 kids were accepted to UDC, which is not a bad school. I mean, it's a pretty, what do you call, prestigious school, UDC.
So they did.
So
wait, hold on. They accepted them without the ACT scores? They just accepted them.
This is the thing. That school, that particular school, was saying there was this whole thing about all the kids at this school are going to go to college, and
Right.
all of the kids were accepted to college. So how did that happen? They had to have placed scores in their record. You know what I mean? They aren't talking about that part
No,
where they're telling you that these kids can't read and write, yet they are graduating.
they're
And
graduating
not only
and getting
are they
accepted to college.
graduating, they are sending them with some padded scores.
See, but how do you pad the ACT score or the SAT? I mean, because in order to get...
That's another thing. That is, I don't know if there's, because it's UDC, if they might have an agreement with that school,
And that's
which
what
is
I'm wondering.
possible.
That's what I'm wondering, because there's
to
some
send
money
all
there.
those kids to that school particularly. But it's somewhere in the article, either at the Washington Post or the other one, they have graduated these kids and they all were accepted. It talks about like 100 and, I don't know, so many, over 100 kids were accepted to UDC and only 18 enrolled. I remember as part of the story somewhere.
So
I got it.
UDC getting some money too. So UDC is part of the scandal too.
And kind of. I mean, that's what it seems like anyway.
Listen, it can't be kind of, because think about this. You can't you took the ACT or the SAT.
Right.
You can't pad that. In order to get into one of these institutions, you have to be able to pass the ACT. And to get a scholarship, you have to be at a certain level. Now, if you have 15, 14, 16, or, around in those low numbers, you know what I'm saying? You could
Right.
get in, but you're going to have to pay. If it's higher, you could get a scholarship. Now, the question is, are they accepting kids without even testing them nowadays? Maybe, I'm old. I don't know. See, because what I'm saying is, there's a money line that's running all the way through here. Each school district get paid per student. And then on top of that, they are encouraged to push these kids through. You know what I'm saying? They talk about now this whole No Child Left Behind thing, right? One of my things is, we got the third grade reading guarantee and stuff like this, but still, the child could fail that 2 or 3 times. You know what I'm saying? Well, actually, he can only fail twice, or she can only fail twice, and then they have to be promoted, right? Now, so that means that you can still walk through the whole system. And this everywhere. You can walk through the whole system and actually not be able to read or write. Or do math. You know what I'm saying? And then on top of that, when we look, because it's so many factors here. Then you got that prison. It's so much money that's being put on these kids to be basically develop the next generation of cannon fodder. Fertilizer.
Right.
Fertilizer for the growth of the American empire. You know what I'm saying? They need, and a lot of us don't understand that America is built on the failure of black bodies. This is, I'm quoting, I got that from Yvette Carnell, but that make a lot of sense to me. These kids that think they graduated, that actually might think they know something, gonna try to go somewhere, not be able to get a job, not be able to perform at the level that everybody thought they were supposed to perform at, and they're gonna do something heinous. They're gonna end up. It's a possibility they can end up in prison, which continues to feed the whole cycle, right? A whole cycle of destruction is being set up, and we're trying to push our children to achieve on a test when a lot of the children, not just black children, but a lot of children that's coming into these schools right now are coming in with severe traumas and more needs than most schools can provide. Period.
Let me see. There's another article on this that gives another a really more in-depth look at it. It's from the Federalist Papers, .org. And they give another view of the story, and that's the one I believe where I have to read that information about those kids. that were accepted to UDC. I think it's in that on that site. But I think that the main thing is that if I don't understand, something that's been baffling me is that, like, we had the conversation before about the highest concentration of affluent black people in this country live in the D.C. area.
Right.
They live in PG County.
Right.
And the problem is that they are at the bottom of the education system in this state.
Mm-hmm.
Why is that happening? When you have a working class white community called in Carroll County, and they, of course, don't have the resources that the people in Prince George's County do.